In the year 2001, Peter Falconio and Joanne Lees, two young British tourists, embarked on what they hoped would be the adventure of a lifetime. Their journey took them through the vast and desolate Australian outback, a land of rugged beauty and endless horizons. With the excitement of exploration in their hearts, Peter and Joanne navigated the red dust roads, passing through remote towns and breathtaking landscapes. The outback, with its wild charm and untamed nature, seemed like the perfect backdrop for their dream road trip. But as the sun set and the shadows grew longer, the isolation of the outback began to reveal its darker side. Little did Peter and Joanne know, their idyllic journey was about to take a terrifying turn, leading them into a mystery that would haunt the Australian outback for years to come. Join us as we delve into the chilling story of Peter Falconio and the night that changed everything. As twilight gave way to the deep, inky blackness of the outback night, Peter Falconio and Joanne Lees continued their journey along the Stuart Highway. The vast emptiness around them was both mesmerizing and unsettling, a stark reminder of their isolation in one of the most remote places on Earth. It was then, around 8 p.m., that they noticed a pair of headlights approaching from behind. A vehicle drew closer, flashing its lights, signaling for them to pull over. Peter, ever the considerate traveler, complied, thinking it might be someone in need or alerting them to a potential issue with their van. As the stranger approached their vehicle, the atmosphere grew palpably tense. Joanne later recounted the unease that settled in her stomach as the man, claiming there were sparks coming from their exhaust, beckoned Peter to step out and take a look. The outback, once a canvas of adventure, had transformed into a stage for something far more sinister. Peter exited the van, leaving Joanne inside, her eyes following his every move. The stranger's demeanor shifted subtly, but enough for Joanne to sense that something was wrong. Suddenly, chaos erupted. Joanne heard a loud bang, like a car backfiring, but the reality was far more horrifying. Peter had been ambushed. Before she could process what was happening, the stranger turned his attention to Joanne. With quick thinking and sheer will to survive, she managed to escape the clutches of her attacker, bolting into the dense shrubbery that flanked the highway. For hours, she hid in the darkness, the cold desert air biting at her skin, her heart pounding with fear. In that moment, the outback was no longer just vast and desolate. It was a labyrinth of uncertainty and terror. Joanne's only thought was survival. As she waited for the first light of dawn to bring a sliver of hope in an otherwise nightmarish landscape. The chilling events of that night marked the beginning of a mystery that would baffle investigators and haunt the memories of those who heard the tale. What started as a dream road trip had turned into a harrowing ordeal, and Peter Falconio's fate became one of the most perplexing enigmas of the Australian outback. As the chilling encounter unfolded, Joanne Lees found herself in a fight for her life. After Peter was ambushed, the stranger turned his menacing gaze towards her. In a matter of seconds, Joanne was dragged out of the van, her heart racing and her mind scrambling for a way out. The attacker bound her hands with rough, coarse rope, the fibers cutting into her skin as she struggled. Threats were whispered in the dark, each word sending shivers down her spine. Joanne knew she had to act quickly. With every ounce of strength, she managed to loosen the bindings, her fingers working frantically against the restraints. The outback's silence was broken only by the sound of her heavy breathing and the distant rustling of nocturnal creatures. In a moment of sheer desperation, Joanne broke free from her captor's grip. Her instincts kicked into overdrive, and she bolted into the unforgiving wilderness. The dense shrubbery became her shield as she dove into the undergrowth, her body trembling with fear and adrenaline. The attacker searched, his footsteps echoing through the night, but Joanne remained hidden, her body pressed against the cold earth. Every minute felt like an eternity as she lay there, the darkness enveloping her. Her survival instincts kept her still and silent, even as the terror threatened to overwhelm her. Hours passed, and the first light of dawn began to break through the horizon. Joanne knew she had to move, to find help, but the fear of being discovered paralyzed her. With the rising sun came a glimmer of hope, and she carefully made her way back to the highway, each step a testament to her will to survive. Joanne's escape was nothing short of miraculous, a harrowing tale of courage and resilience in the face of unimaginable danger. Her ordeal would become a key part of the mystery, a haunting reminder of the night that turned a dream road trip into a nightmare. The Outback, once a symbol of adventure, had shown its darker side, and Joanne's survival was a beacon of hope in an otherwise bleak and terrifying landscape. As the sun rose over the desolate expanse of the Northern Territory, Joanne Lees finally reached the highway, her body battered and her spirit shaken. Her harrowing escape was just the beginning. What followed was a frantic and exhaustive search for Peter Falconio, a search that would grip the nation and leave an indelible mark on all who followed the story. The Australian police quickly mobilized, launching a massive manhunt across the unforgiving Outback. Helicopters scoured the landscape from above, while ground teams combed through every inch of the rugged terrain. The Outback, with its vast and unyielding wilderness, posed a formidable challenge. Every day, searchers battled the elements, hoping for a breakthrough, but the landscape seemed to swallow their efforts whole. The public's interest in the case grew with each passing day. News outlets covered every development, and theories began to circulate. Was it a random attack by a drifter, or was there something more sinister at play? The lack of clear answers only fueled the speculation, and the mystery of Peter Falconio's disappearance became a national obsession. Despite the exhaustive efforts, no trace of Peter was found. No body, no clues, just the haunting emptiness of the Outback. The police remained vigilant, but as days turned into weeks, hope began to wane. Joanne's testimony, though detailed and compelling, was not enough to bring closure. The case cast a shadow of fear over the Outback. Once a symbol of adventure and freedom, it now represented danger and uncertainty. Travelers became more cautious, and the legend of Peter Falconio's disappearance became a cautionary tale for all who dared to venture into the wilderness. The search for Peter Falconio was one of the most extensive in Australian history, a testament to the determination and resilience of those who sought to uncover the truth. But the Outback, with its secrets and its silence, remained an enigma, and as the days turned into months, the mystery only deepened. The aftermath of the attack left a scar on the Australian psyche, a reminder of the night when a dream road trip turned into a nightmare. The search for Peter Falconio was a story of hope and heartbreak, of relentless pursuit and unanswered questions. And as the years went by, the question remained: what really happened to Peter Falconio? Joanne Lees, the sole witness to the chilling encounter, soon found herself under the harsh glare of media scrutiny. As the search for Peter Falconio continued, the spotlight shifted to Joanne, and the public's curiosity turned into suspicion. Her conflicting statements, stoic demeanor, and the lack of physical evidence began to raise questions. Was Joanne hiding something? Or was she simply a victim of a deeply traumatic event? In the days following the attack, Joanne's accounts of the night's events appeared inconsistent. Small details seemed to change, and her calm exterior was often misinterpreted as coldness. The media pounced on these discrepancies, portraying her in an unflattering light. News outlets dissected her every word, and armchair detectives speculated endlessly about her possible involvement. The relentless pressure took its toll. Joanne's every move was scrutinized, and her attempts to maintain her privacy were met with skepticism. Experts weighed in, debating whether her behavior was indicative of guilt or the natural response of someone in shock. Trauma specialists suggested that her conflicting statements could be a result of the intense stress she had endured. But the court of public opinion was less forgiving. Despite the doubts cast upon her, Joanne remained steadfast in her account of the events. She cooperated fully with the authorities, underwent numerous interviews, and even faced cross-examination in court. Yet, the shadow of suspicion never fully lifted. The case of Peter Falconio's disappearance became as much about Joanne's credibility as it was about solving the mystery. Was she a key to unlocking the truth, or was she an enigma in her own right? The media's relentless focus on her character only added another layer of complexity to an already baffling case. As the years passed, the scrutiny of Joanne Lees became a crucial chapter in the story of Peter Falconio's disappearance. Her experience highlighted the often harsh realities faced by survivors of trauma and the intense pressure of living under the public eye. Whether she was a victim or held answers that were never fully revealed, Joanne's story remains an integral part of this haunting mystery. And as we ponder the fate of Peter Falconio, we must also consider the ordeal of Joanne Lees, a woman who, despite the doubts and the scrutiny, continues to live with the memories of that fateful night in the Outback. As the mystery of Peter Falconio's disappearance deepened, investigators zeroed in on a new suspect, Bradley John Murdoch. A man with a troubling past, Murdoch was no stranger to the law. His criminal history was marred with violent offenses and drug trafficking, painting a picture of a man capable of heinous acts. The breakthrough came when Joanne Lees provided a crucial description of her attacker. This, combined with a nationwide manhunt, led police to Murdoch. But it wasn't just Joanne's account that linked him to the crime. DNA evidence found on Joanne's clothing was a match to Murdoch, solidifying the case against him. Murdoch's behavior only added to the suspicion. After the incident, he attempted to flee the country, a desperate move that further implicated him. Eyewitness accounts placed him in the vicinity of the crime, and forensic evidence from his vehicle matched materials found at the scene. During the trial, the prosecution laid out a compelling narrative, piecing together the events of that fateful night. Joanne's testimony, though scrutinized, was pivotal. The DNA evidence, Murdoch's flight attempt, and his violent history painted a damning picture. Despite his vehement denials, the jury found Bradley John Murdoch guilty of Peter Falconio's murder. Yet, even with Murdoch behind bars, questions lingered. Was he truly the mastermind behind the attack? Or was there more to the story than met the eye? The conviction brought some closure, but the mystery of what exactly happened to Peter Falconio remains unresolved. As we reflect on the case, the conviction of Bradley John Murdoch stands as a testament to the relentless pursuit of justice, but the shadows of that night in the Outback still loom large, leaving us to ponder the unanswered questions and the chilling reality of a mystery that may never be fully unraveled. Despite Bradley John Murdoch's conviction, many questions remain unanswered. The absence of Peter Falconio's body is one of the most glaring uncertainties. Without this crucial piece of evidence, doubts about the trial's conclusion persist. Some skeptics argue that the case against Murdoch was circumstantial and hinged heavily on Joanne Lees' testimony, which has been the subject of intense scrutiny and debate. Inconsistencies in the evidence have also fueled these doubts. For instance, the DNA found on Joanne's clothing was a match to Murdoch, but the lack of other physical evidence connecting him directly to the crime scene leaves room for speculation. Additionally, eyewitness accounts and forensic analysis, while compelling, do not paint a complete picture of what transpired that night. Murdoch's previous criminal history certainly made him a plausible suspect, but was it enough to convict him beyond a reasonable doubt? Critics argue that the investigation may have overlooked other potential leads in their rush to find a suspect. Some even suggest that Murdoch might have been a convenient scapegoat, allowing the authorities to close a high-profile case under intense public pressure. Why do some still believe Murdoch might not be the real killer? The answer lies in the unresolved questions and the eerie gaps in the narrative. The Outback's vast, unforgiving landscape hides its secrets well, and without Peter Falconio's body, the full truth remains shrouded in mystery. As long as these questions linger, the case will continue to captivate and confound, leaving us to wonder if justice was truly served. The case of Peter Falconio's disappearance is riddled with unanswered questions that continue to perplex investigators and true crime enthusiasts alike. The most haunting of these mysteries is the whereabouts of Peter Falconio's body. Despite extensive searches, no trace of him has ever been found. Could there have been another accomplice? Some theorists suggest that Murdoch might not have acted alone. Eyewitness accounts and unexplained footprints found at the scene hint at the possibility of a second person involved in the crime. Others speculate that Peter might have been taken further into the outback, where the harsh and vast landscape could easily hide any evidence. Another theory revolves around a potential motive that has never been fully explored. Was Peter targeted for reasons beyond a random attack? Some suggest that there might have been a deeper, more personal motive that has yet to come to light. Theories about Joanne Lees's involvement also persist. Could she have been hiding something about that night? Despite being cleared of any wrongdoing, her inconsistent statements and behavior have fueled speculation. Then, there are those who believe that Peter Falconio might still be alive. This controversial theory suggests that he staged his own disappearance, though it raises more questions than it answers. These theories, while varied, share one common thread. The Outback holds many secrets, and the full story of what happened to Peter Falconio may never be known. As long as these mysteries remain, the case will continue to captivate and confound, leaving us to ponder the true fate of Peter Falconio. The disappearance of Peter Falconio did more than just baffle investigators and generate countless theories. It left an indelible mark on Australia and the world. This case changed how people perceive safety in the vast, untamed expanse of the Australian outback. No longer just a place of rugged beauty and adventure, the outback became a symbol of lurking danger and unsolved mysteries. Travelers and locals alike reevaluated their sense of security. The case sparked a wave of caution among those venturing into remote areas, leading to increased awareness and safety measures. The chilling encounter that night in July 2001 served as a stark reminder of the unpredictable nature of such isolated landscapes. The Falconio case also found a place in popular culture, inspiring books, documentaries, and even movies that continue to captivate audiences. Its unresolved nature keeps it alive in the public imagination, a haunting story that raises more questions than it answers. Moreover, the case highlighted the complexities and challenges of criminal investigations in such vast and inhospitable terrains. It prompted discussions on law enforcement capabilities and the need for advanced technologies and strategies to tackle crimes in remote areas. As we ponder the fate of Peter Falconio, we are reminded of the Outback's mysterious allure and the enduring impact of his disappearance. It is a tale that continues to resonate, a somber chapter in Australia's history that serves as both a cautionary tale and a source of endless intrigue. The mystery remains, but its lessons are clear. In the heart of the Outback, amidst its beauty and desolation, lies a story that will never be forgotten.